me fire, give me that which I desire. All right, welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. It's the Kickin Assphalt Xfinity series here live from Nashville Superspeedwayy. Got a great one on tap this evening. I'm Dean Doucette, in the booth with me, Mr. Jared Carr, along with Mr. Brad Patterson. Jared, we look forward to these races, man. They've been doing them for a bit now. Some good racers out here, and they got a more unique track in Nashville Superspeedwayy to attack tonight.
Yeah, Dean. I mean, we're back into this the 1.5 milers or the traditional ovals, whatever you want to call it. After some pretty tough weeks there for a little bit, but we look at this track, Dean, and it's the newest NASCAR track, I guess you could call it, on the schedule. I mean, it came out last June for the service, so a lot of inexperience for everybody involved in this track, on this track that's here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see who's picked up this track the best and who has a good car.
Yeah, most definitely. Inexperience may be the key here. We'll see how it goes. I love this track personally. One of my favorite additions to the racing circuit. We look in tonight to the keys to the race. Same as usual. Tires, pitting, strategy. They go hand in hand in hand there, Brad. And, of those, I always like to focus on pitting. We see it week in, week out. It's so important.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if there's one thing that sums up everything, you want to conserve your tires, okay, conserve your tires. You want to get new tires. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make your way through pit road in order to get anything done here. And, this is a kind of a little bit of a tricky pit road, especially on the entry, this kind of very flat corner going into turn four, if you will, get down onto the baking. So you can't necessarily win everything in the pits, but you can definitely lose it.
Yeah, you certainly can. We look in on our championship standings, totally unofficial here. Banks in first, got himself a decent lead over Jesse Pries. We got Eric Schaefer, Cody Kinsey, Anthony Cronover. It's Brown, Newbra, Paw, Covington, and Bizzle in your top 10. You can find your favorite driver in there. And Jared, when we look in on these guys and these standings here, I mean, Banks got a nice lead. What do these guys have to do to get around Banks? He's tough.
Yeah, Brandon Banks has been consistent. 13 races, Dean, we've raced this year. He's finished in the top 10 12 times. 12 times. The only time he didn't was a 12th place finish at Martinsville back at the beginning of the year, 2022, the first race of 2022. I mean, he has been unstoppable. But then we saw last week Jesse Pries finally getting his win. And then you have the always formidable Eric Schaefer and his teammates. They're all teammates. All the top four are teammates. But you got to look at Anthony Cronover. He's a guy that he's missed a couple races, and he's kind of put himself behind the eight ball a little bit, Dean. But he has improved so much as the season has gone on. And then you don't want to count out the JR Motorsports guys, Dustin Covington in 7th or 6th place in points, and Wesley Holland back there in 11th. Those guys have been very solid since they joined the league.
Yeah, we're just riding with Wesley Holland, and he's having a little trouble getting loose there, so I don't know how that's going to affect him. And of course, the guy you brought up, Jared, I got to pick on you here, Cronover, not here tonight. Just looking at the list, he is not on the track this evening.
And that's unfortunate because Cronover very solid, but it's a new track, so sometimes guys don't have the track purchased yet, or haven't had the chance to run it, because it has been on the service for a little bit.
Yeah, these things happen. Brad, we look at this track. I don't know about your experience level here. I love it. I mean, what do you think of it? And what do you think these guys got to do? Maybe sitting back in, fifth place, for instance, newcomer Joe Sanchez back there in fifth. What's he got to do here to move forward tonight?
Oh man, this is a beautiful track. One that pays dividends to somebody who can save a little bit of tire. If you're sitting back in fifth place like a Sanchez, if you will, rocking that Dude Wipes paint scheme, by the way. I think the biggest thing you got to do is just don't overdrive the corners, because if you get your tires too hot, you're going to pay for it for several laps, maybe even the entire portion of the run. You got to sit there and just kind of pace yourself, keep control under the tires, and really just stay to the bottom of that racetrack. If you start there and start sliding up in the middle of the corners, you're going to overheat those tires and you're going to end up falling to the back.
Yeah, great points there. Right now, everybody lining up and getting ready to go. Let's get into tonight's starting grid. On the pole, the points leader, Brandon Banks, one of those JD Motorsports guy with a time of 30.450. If I can read that right, I don't know. It might be 050. I'm not sure, folks. Eric Schaefer on the outside of row number 1. Dustin and Covington in the 88 will start third. It's Cody Kinsey in the number 15 on the outside of row number 2. Row number 3, you're going to have Joe Sanchez making his first race that I'm aware of anyway here. So Joe Sanchez, we'll keep an eye on him. Good qualifying for his first rollout here. David E. Brown will start in 6. It's Mark Hanna in the 54, rolling off 7. Jesse Pries will start 8th, and it's Bizzle and Kostritza 9th and 10th.
Yeah, we look back at a couple of positions here. Michael Newbra and Dorsett will round out row number 6 there. Or sorry, that is Nicholas Lamb in row number 6 with Michael Newbra. Row 7, Wesley Holland and Brandon Dorsett. And row 8, we got Jason Hughes and Marshall Layton. And I think we got a couple drivers still out on the track, maybe starting from pit road.
Absolutely. These guys all ready to go, though. One thing that's for sure is as soon as this green flag does drop, you're going to be a fierce battle to get to the bottom. And whoever controls the bottom of turn 1 might have the outcome in turn 2. If not, it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not that top line is going to come in.
Should be a good battle out here. Not a big field, but a very challenging field. A lot of evenly matched drivers out here. Should be an interesting race. Pace car pulls off the track. Banks and Schaefer lead him down to the green flag.
Green's out. Green flag. Green flag.
Green flag drops. Banks rolls off pretty good. Schaefer holding his own. Inside lane going to be preferred down in 1 here. But Schaefer, a nice job on the outside. Covington, they're looking to go 3 wide already.
Covington with a great move down through the middle, and he's going to slide up underneath Schaefer, and he's going to have the nose underneath going into the turn number 3, Brad, as he looks underneath Banks.
Yeah, absolutely. So continues to work that bottom of the racetrack. Right now, you're going to have the 80
back there. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. 31 is Schaefer. Lost right now. Right now, still the battle's up front. That's going to be the 88 of Covington working to the bottom of Banks.
Covington looking strong here. Banks, ever conservative. Don't see him on the pole too often. And usually, he's later in the race we talk about Banks, but he's up here. But Covington, the man, powering to the front right out of the gate. Schaefer's in 3rd. Joe Sanchez, he picked up a spot and went to 4th. David E. Brown, who's been improving all along. Oh, looks like to me like Covington got a little loose. Schaefer as well as Banks capitalizing here.
That's a big move down out of turn number 4. Brandon T. Banks going to the front. And Dean, this is, like you said, this is only his 2nd pole of the year. He won a pole way back at Phoenix, which this track is kind of similar to this, Brad, except this is a concrete track, a little bit more banking, but kind of the similar type layout. As you see now, Covington starting to struggle as Sanchez going underneath of him.
Yeah, Sanchez making his debut here tonight, doing an excellent job, currently in the 4th position as he made his way by Banks right there. The question you got to ask yourself, are these guys burning up their stuff, working a little bit too hard? It is a concrete track, which is a little bit more forgiving, but man, early on going this hard into the corners with this much of a battle, it makes you wonder, is it going to be able to hold up?
Well, I would say that a concrete track is harder on tires. I mean, Dover, you talk the nickname Monster Mile. In fact, Dover and Nashville Superspeedway were owned by the same company. Those company was bought by SMI back in November. So now they're with Texas Motor Speedway and all those guys. But right now, Dean, you look at it, battle for the lead. Schaefer just kind of sneaking on his teammate here.
He is, and what I wanted to ask you is, what happened to Covington? It's lap 5, Jared. Can you burn your tires up in like 3 or 4 laps? I mean, he is fading already.
Yeah, this track, I mean, Dean, we talk about Dover, right? I mean, that's a track where you can go, very quick at Dover. You don't want to go very quick at Dover because you will burn your stuff up. And I was looking at Covington, Brad, and I think that he, you kind of alluded to it. I think he's burned his stuff up. I mean, David E. Brown is all over the back of that number 88 machine.
Well, here's a question that, we often don't really think about, but it can happen even to the best of them. Could we have possibly left our qualifying setup on that machine? And all of a sudden, it's just not, making it work with the race setup right now. One person that's definitely making it work, though, that's going to be that 0-1 of Eric Schaefer. He's just stalking him. I think he's got a better race car right now. You see him as he's able to turn the center of the corner a little bit better than that 4, but it's a matter of the fact that their teammates, that they're really not pushing the issue right now.
And Dean, I was looking back here at Michael Newbra and Mark Hanna. There is a big gaggle of cars back here battling as you see Wesley Holland making a move underneath here.
Holland making his way up. He's up 3 spots. Oh, he's dangerous. Pushing up into Hanna. Hanna's loose. That looks like Bizzle coming underneath him.
Ooh, Hughes almost clipped. Yeah, I think he did. Hughes is loose. Hughes into the wall.
Hughes into the wall. No caution on the track. That's really going to hurt him. Lamb and Leighton not making the race. I'm not sure why they did not start this race. Nonetheless, back up front, Schaefer getting a bit of a run off the corner. He's going to peek underneath.
Yeah, I think Schaefer was just able to utilize his tires a little bit better, being able to fall in line behind him, not really worrying about protecting the line that you saw that Brandon Banks doing. Right now, he's going to be able to make that move. Turn number 4, Brandon Banks, 01 of Schaefer to the lead. 23 of Joe Sanchez making his debut here, looking very strong, closing on the back of Banks.
And let's hop on board here with Joe Sanchez, Jared, and we look in on him. He's following our 2 leaders, 2 high-quality drivers. Brand new guy, looking very, very good out here. What's Sanchez got to be thinking? Not only as a race car driver here, but as a brand new participant to this league.
Well, he's teammates with those guys, Dean. I mean, Banks, Schaefer, Newbra, Kenzie, they're all on the same team. So Sanchez joining a very good team. They work with, each other in different ventures. But Sanchez, very solid driver. Let's look at him on this lap, Dean. He's coming down the tri-oval. He's just kind of getting a little bit of a draft here. But look at his steering wheel. A little bit left to right motion. But look at how easily he turns it down the corner. One turn, and now he got a little bit loose there, got that yellow line, comes back out, so that car is somewhere between loose to neutral right now, Brad, and we go down into turn number 3 here, a little bit lower line. You see Banks a little bit wider. Eric Schaefer jumping out there, but a little bit loose to neutral for Sanchez. That's where you kind of want to be at this point in the run right now.
Yeah, it really is. The one thing that I'm worried about, though, is his exit. You see him, he's really good through the center of the corner, and he kind of slides the tires on the exit. And the only thing that's going to be interesting there is, will he warm up a little bit too much, where if you look at right in front of him, Banks, it looks like Banks is a little bit more controlled coming off of the exits, where it looks like the 23 is just sliding just a little bit. And it's going to, over the long run, it's going to put a lot of heat in those tires.
Banks a lot less movement in the wheel, but similar turning radius out of the 2, just a little smoother from Banks, but these guys looking really good. Schaefer last week had internet issues and it conked out on him, so we've seen a little blip from him there. Let's hope that doesn't happen to him again this week.
And Dean, one thing I'm noticing, just following this battle between Banks and Sanchez, if you will, Banks is going to, go in a little bit softer, and he's going to really concentrate on his exit speed, where if you look at that 23, he dives it so deep into the corner, makes up a lot of speed, loses it all on exit. But, I mean, the difference in tire wear is going to be, very dramatic, I think, between the 2.
Well, when you talk about that, Jared, can you have different setups to do those 2 different styles?
Yeah, I think that's a really good observation that Brad had there. Sanchez is driving in a lot deeper, and I think and you watch his wheel, he kind of goes left, right, left, right. He is battling a neutral to loose car, and I think if you drive it in deeper, that's going to put a little bit more heat in that right front, kind of tighten that thing up. So I think that's kind of what he needs to do based on the setup. But the only concern I have is like you were saying, Brad, he's sliding those rear end tires. But we'll see. Banks, I think he's run a little bit unorthodox line. It is working for him. He's kind of entering on the middle side and kind of getting down to a little bit not as low. I mean, you see right now, all three of these drivers, Dean, are running kind of different lines right now here.
They are. It's very interesting to watch. I mean, and it's kind of the beauty of Nashville. I love it. You can run slightly different entries and exits around here. You kind of all meet on the center part of the corner, at least normally. I mean, a little higher there for Sanchez than Banks. But it's super interesting to watch these three really all same pace, kind of different styles across them. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, if you're a betting man, who would you bet on at this point? You kind of got a lot like Banks' long runs ability.
Yeah, I mean, Dean, we've watched him so much, and Brad, you're just joining us for the first time this year. But Banks, we've seen him do this so many times. But usually he's a little bit further back, and he is starting to kind of put pressure on Schaefer. And I want to look back a little bit further too, because it's not to be remiss. I mean, Jesse Pries up 4 spots. He's gotten around David E. Brown and Covington, who continues to slip from that lead. He has dropped from the lead to 6th position. Then you got Kostritza under pressure from Cody Kinsey and Michael Newbraw. These JD Motorsports cars are really starting to find this groove, Dean, and we saw it last week, where Cody Kinsey was kind of far back and then started to make moves forward, and it looks like he's starting to do the same thing again. All 5 of these JD Motorsports guys.
Yeah, these guys looking good out here. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Jesse Pries, his win last week, a huge win in that TikTok car. Heck, we're still waiting for that dance routine on TikTok, though. I never did get that video. Stay with this little battle with Kinsey, Kostritza, and Newbraw. And Newbraw, another guy I always like for the long run, and he's had some bad luck as of late, but he's looking pretty good here. He's trying to get underneath Kostritza, heading down into the corner. And, well, Kostritza, really nice entry there on the high side.
Yeah, that's one thing about Nashville here. You're able to control yourself on the top side, but you saw right there the 6, able to rotate a little bit better and get a better drive off of the corner, able to make that pass happen. And Kostritza, getting in very deep, almost right into the back bumper of the 6, but able to definitely control it. So we're definitely seeing different braking points. Some guys charging the corner a little bit different. So this is one of those few tracks that it's like there's so many different ways to drive it. Which way's the best? Only victory lane's going to tell us at the end of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Jared said, not a whole lot of experience for anybody on this track. So, I mean, I always talk about how I love it, but it kind of reminds me of Homestead, I believe. Would that be a good analogy, Jared?
I probably wouldn't go with Homestead, but because it's not as banked, not a progressive bank track. But I mean, it does have that kind of vibe where there is some multiple lines and kind of different driving styles that you can use at the track. But this track, kind of modeled after, some of the other 1.5 mile tracks out there, like kind of like the way the current Atlanta is, except a little bit smaller. But Eric Schaefer starting to stretch his legs a little bit, Brad. I mean, he has put out a half a second lead over Banks and Sanchez, and Pries back 4 seconds. And we're going to have lap traffic here probably within the next 10 to 15 laps, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Schaefer's starting to work his magic, and that's the difference between really protecting. Banks had to really, I think, look more in the mirror at the 23 of Sanchez than he was looking out at his front. A little bit further back in the field, though, I'm kind of focusing right now on that one of Wesley Holland. He's being hunted right now by Mark Hanna. Hanna, currently right now trying to get to the bottom. So this battle continues. Oh, contact!
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Wow, heavy contact. Just caught the end of it. Missed the wreck. We're going to get a replay on that. You can be certain of it.
All right, you can call it commentary's curse. I'm sorry.
Well, you were on it, Brad, and you chose to battle correct. Let's get a look at this replay. Here comes Hannah. Nice run on the bottom. It's way down low. Oh, and Holland on the outside wall comes down. Uncharacteristic mistake from Wesley. Holland comes down and just takes out the 54. So we don't see that from Wesley Holland too often, Jared.
No, that was a mistake. He looked like he may have just gotten tight off the corner. At the same time, it looked like a push loose. He looked like he was pushing. The car caught, and it just kind of slid up into the wall. And unfortunately, Mark Hanna there to kind of collect him. But man, what a tough break for Mark Hanna, just kind of minding his own. He's going to have to take a pit stop. But Dean, this is coming pretty early in the race. I mean, we're only 24 laps in. I mean, this is kind of a slower track in terms of lap times. And here they come. They're all coming down.
Yeah, one thing I will say is I saw Hannah coming to pit road, and that vehicle was crab walking quite a bit. As our leaders coming down to pit road, so it's going to be interesting. Everybody's going to have to hit their marks. This could be a different situation. If you get somebody like the 23 of Joe Sanchez able to get ahead of Brandon Banks or something like that, we could have a totally different race on our hands.
So interesting to see. Poor Mark Hanna having himself a good little run, was moving up and got clipped there. We'll see if he can get some repairs done on pit road. But right now, the battle, Banks, Schaefer, Covington, all up front here. Sanchez was in that mix. Here comes Schaefer rolling off under control, no problem. Looks like Sanchez is going to move up to second with a good pit stop. So Joe Sanchez making waves here early on.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be very interesting as far as where the leader's going to fire off, because we know Sanchez from watching earlier, he's going to be a guy that's going to charge that corner really hard, where we saw Eric Schaefer doing the kind of more conservative as far as, a little off the throttle on entry and really, focusing on the exit, where Sanchez was going hard into the corner and really giving up a little bit of exit. So it's going to be very interesting with these two guys running on the front row here.
Super interesting. Schaefer out here in front with Sanchez now in second, Banks third, Pries in fourth, David E. Brown up to fifth place, Covington, Kinsey, New Broadcut, Streetsa, and Dorset, your top 10. Gibson, Bizzle, Holland, Hanna, Hughes, early problems for him.
Yeah,
Jared,
Mark Hanna. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jared. I was going to be a smart. So, do you think if you had some flex glue, you wouldn't need any dude wipes? I'm just saying.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, Brad.
I don't know, but I would like some of that flex glue. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that, you could probably build a race car on that stuff.
Oh, yeah, you build a boat, you can build a race car.
Allegedly. I don't know if I'd get in that boat.
Yeah, I wouldn't get
Allegedly, absolutely.
I don't know if I'd get in that boat personally, but yeah, Brad, Mark Hanna not very happy with Wesley Holland over the radio. It looks like the comms quiet from the one car. Mark Hanna not too pleased with that accident.
Yeah, I heard that as well. And, very uncharacteristic, without a doubt. And, these guys usually, top class and whatnot. So, they're going to look at a replay. I'm sure they'll talk throughout the week and, they'll get that settled up. Right now, what we're going to be focused in on is, what can Joe Sanchez do? I mean, come on. He's new to this, but at the same time, a teammate, what do you do? I mean, you don't want to just show up and wreck your teammate.
Put the bumper to him and move forward. No, the 23 is going to, I think, play nice, but, race car is a race car driver. New league, you can think about playing nice and all that, but you get up here, the juices get flowing, and you got to race. And, I'm wondering what's going on YouTube. Tina Parker retracted her comment. I imagine something not too kind to say about that wreck, but Tina, we feel incredibly bad for Mark there and Wesley. I don't think I've ever seen Wesley do that, so it's an uncharacteristic error on his part.
Well, I got to be honest. I mean, looking at the restarts at this particular track in general, I kind of like the outside just for that first lap, low air pressures. You can kind of get away with a little bit more on the top side and really rotate through the top side. So, and we've seen him be very aggressive as far as Joe Sanchez, as far as charging the corner. So I think exit of 2 is where the action is going to be at here.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Don't forget about Jesse Pries sitting in fourth now, last week's winner. So we got a lot of the players still here This race is far from over. Pace car rolls off. Schaefer and Sanchez lead him down. Good job on the outside from Sanchez. He's going to be looking to fit right in there. Banks trying to close that spot. Priest trying to fit in there.
Yeah, big run for Priest, and he is coming up on the outside of Brandon Banks, who did not get going. And Dean, look at Jesse Pries fly on the outside.
Yeah, Jesse Priest doing a really nice job on that start. And we've seen this from Banks before. I'd say if there was one weakness I could pick on, it might be that. He's not the best on the restarts. But, you know, my memory might be bad. Don't get mad at me, Brandon.
These guys continue to battle here,
And
Brad.
here goes Covington again.
Everybody moving up there, yeah.
Yeah, these guys, indicatively, you know, I mean, they actually got separated really quick right now. The battle's going to be between that 88, and that's going to be Dustin Covington. He's going to be working on the zero, if you will, right there in that TikTok machine. That's going to be Jesse Pries. The 3 working to the inside. That's David Brown trying to take advantage of the 88.
David Brown making some moves, and someone's loose through the grass.
Yeah, there's Brandon Dorsett there in the 8.
Oh, the 9. There's some
And the 9
contact
got
behind
into
him.
him pretty
Yeah.
badly. He come back up on the track to Dorsett, or did someone? I don't know who got into who there. It looks like someone got into Dorsett. He came back on the track, and he got absolutely clobbered there. I think that was Holland again.
Yeah, Holland and pit road right now with heavy damage, having to tow.
That's unfortunate for Holland, who's just kind of got a bad break there.
Let's get a look in on it. I mean, pretty spread out here momentarily. Let's get a look in on this wreck. Not Holland's night tonight. You see through the grass up ahead. Here comes Holland. Dorsett back up on the track, and bam! I mean, I don't know. Not enough time to react, perhaps, but that's a tough lick.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Dean, talk about reaction right now. That's going to have to be, we're going to have to focus in on that 88 of Dustin Covington under heavy fire right now from the 15 of Cody Kinston. He's going to battle back on the top side. He's going to have the 3 of David Brown right there. These cars are all over each other. You think it was last lap right now?
Yeah, these guys battling hard right now.
Brown looking good.
Oh, we've lost Schaefer.
I like the way he's entering the corner. This is something I like to do at these type of tracks, and that's enter a little lower and hook the corner versus the big looping high to low entries.
Yeah, Dean, we thought we lost Schaefer there for a second, but he was able, that connection really definitely has to be worrying him a little bit. But right now, everybody kind of getting spread out more than we saw before. But 5th place on back, kind of in a group here. Big group as Covington makes a big move underneath Kenzie. Can't quite get there. Newbraw loose underneath David E. Brown.
Wow, big battle here as there's a gaggle, Jared, of cars here.
Yeah, if you got your bingo out, that we marked that off the list.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. It was coming. I just didn't want to be the one to say it. Let's just be honest. But yeah, these guys continuing to just race hard. And that's one thing about Nashville Superspeedwayy here. You know, it is a racer's track. So we're going to go 3 wide and a 3 here.
Bizzle underneath. Newbraw backs out a little bit. Maybe not much. Looks like Kostritza made it through out of the 3 of them. And he's got a bit of a run, but my goodness, 3 wide here.
It's in Talladega, boys. Let's not try that again.
There were some upset drivers on that one. Wow, somebody was not happy about that going 3 wide.
No, it's a little too early for that kind of action, but hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And David E. Brown is saying, I gotta go right now, back to the bottom. I still like the line he's running, but it's really not making those passes. And off the corner, well, he's got to run this time. He's going to swoop underneath one more time on Dustin Covington again, fading really quickly into the run as Covington.
Well, Kostritza almost into the back quarter panel of the 88. Had to get out of it, and Kostritza really driving it in deep, and that's going to set everybody back a little bit.
Kostritza being aggressive here. He made it through that 3 wide situation. Now working on Covington. Behind him, Bizzle and Newbraw going at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And while this is going on, you know, back up front, Joe Sanchez starting to close in on the 01 of Eric Schaefer. just slowly stalking them. They've been able to work their way past Brandon Banks. See Schaefer, unfortunately, having a little bit of connection issue still. But right now, Sanchez is there.
Sanchez is there. He looks great. Out of Simsbury there. He is on the march towards the front. And this is where it comes in. New league, teammate, maybe the guy who brought you in here, and he's thinking, I don't know, I think I want to pass him.
Yeah, this is getting good now. Kind of sitting there, kind of looking at what he can do. I'm still looking back at this battle. I mean, this is insane back here in the back half of the top 10 as we look at that lead on screen. But Dustin Covington giving Kostritza a little bit of a shot into turn 3. And now we got Bizzle involved in this group as well.
Yeah, Newbraw making his way underneath. And these 4 cannot get untangled. Covington takes a peek down the middle. These go side by side down into the corner. Covington looking for room. There is none.
This is just going to get more intense as we go on and the tires wear out. But unfortunately, that's where you're going to have the mistakes. All of a sudden, you're going to go into the corner and you're going to be expecting to be able to hold it. Just going to get that little slip. And then I almost don't want to look because I just see what's happening, what's going to happen.
Kostritza way up the track. Now Bizzle's there. I mean, Dean, these guys are racing like it's the last lap, and this is going to really affect the handling as this race goes on. I mean, they are going to have, some struggles, I would think.
Well, Kostritza now trying to rock the high side, driving it in there. Now, I don't think he's got a good feel for it yet. I don't know if this will pay off or not. So far, the answer is no. Newbraw, once he got clear, he's starting to pull out a little bit. So everything, sort of settled down. Bizzle and Kostritza, as Bizzle gets loose, they're still swinging at each other, though.
Indeed, just an update from the pits. Marshall late back out on the track, 41 laps down.
Wow. Marshall does make it on the track. Good for him for making an attempt out here. A little late to make anything happen here this evening. Mark Hanna also back out.
Yeah, and I do want to point that out. Hanna back out there with fresh tires. He's right on the back of this field. I don't want to say there's ever going to be bad blood, but I mean, he's right on the back of it, doing exactly what I would expect for him to do. As being a professional, if you will. He's actually kind of hanging out. He can get by these guys anytime he wants with those fresh tires. He's just not trying to be a hindrance and at the same time not put anybody in a bad situation.
Yeah, real professional there. I mean, he's angry probably with Holland out of the race right now. So he's not angry at anybody, but he's angry. So, points for him for staying calm here behind this battle and just waiting for it to open up. And now he makes a little move under Kostritza. Back up front, still Schaefer and Sanchez. These guys really matching lap times now. Maybe Schaefer opening up just a little bit on them now.
And these guys continue to battle here. 0.3 of a second, the difference between Schaefer and Sanchez right now. And really the only other battles we got on the track are the one we were talking about with Kostritza, who's now been passed by Bizzle, and Hanna has gotten around him. So things starting to settle down just a little bit here. But all these cars, Dean, from 5th on back, have lost a tremendous amount of time with that little battle they had for a while.
Yeah, they were going hard at it. And they're going to continue to hemorrhage time the way they abuse these tires. You talked a lot about how, somewhat like Dover with the concrete surface and all, and maybe the wear on the tires will be big. And that brings us up into pit strategy. We bring up the pit board. Lap 24 was when most people pitted. You look in now, we're on lap 45. I mean, I guess it's not quite pit time, but Jared, we do run 70% fuel here.
Yeah, we do, and I think that we are going to look at pit stops probably around like lap 75, maybe lap 80 is kind of what I would be circling on my map here, and these guys will have to make that stop and see what they can do.
So you think one stop basically from where the last pit stop was should be a go for these guys?
I think it's a one-stopper at this point in time. Now, I think maybe there could be some guys that burn their tires up and just have to beg mercy and go down pit road, but I don't think that is going to be something that you can do this race, I think, on one more stop on fuel.
All right. Well, we kind of get into those dog days of the race here. You know, these two up front matching each other. Banks lingering about 2 seconds back. The second behind that, you got Jesse Pries. Kinsey now up into fifth. I mean, he started fourth, fell back a bit, moved back up again. Kind of what we see out of Kinsey. You never know what to expect from him. And Brad, this is the type of guy. I mean, you may not know Cody Kinsey that well, but you raced with enough guys to know. Very unpredictable. Can be great, can win, can get loose, you know, whatever. You don't know what you're going to get from Cody Kinsey. He could run low line, he could run high line.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those drivers that I would predict that kind of like Verstappen. It's a rhythm track. I mean, if you're able to get into that rhythm, you know, throttle, off throttle, on throttle, off throttle. You know, there's tracks that you just really excel at, and then there's some of those kind of different tracks where it's like trail braking and everything like that, where you just can't necessarily get your bearings or just a rhythm at, and that's one of those things that it's very difficult to do if you're one of those drivers. If you are, more power to you. But right now, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. I kind of like the line he's running. He's a little bit mid. He's kind of doing an arcing down low, kind of somewhat diamonding the corner, but not being too aggressive about it. And right now, he's pulling away from his competition right there, David Brown. Up front, we're kind of trading lap times between Schaefer and Sanchez. My question is going to be really, is Pries going to be able to pull back to Banks before that pit stop? Because that's really going to be it. We've seen these guys really be able to do a lot when it comes to fresh tires, but we're getting into a situation now where 25 laps on the tires. This is the longest run they've had. So, I would expect Schaefer to probably try to eke out a little bit more over Sanchez, but Sanchez is hanging tough.
Yeah, he's hanging real tough. And let's get a look in on our time delta here between Sanchez and Banks. And, not a lot of movement. Not about what you would expect. It's just not a lot of movement. So these top two staying right there and Banks staying right where he is. We'll look back to Pries, and Banks is opening up over Pries, I believe. Yes, he's opened up about, a half a tenth on him, or a half a second, I should say, on him over the last 5 laps.
It just continues to kind of eke out just a little bit here and there, but overall, that gap kind of been stabilized. Everybody else, like you said, Banks is about 2.5 back, Pries 3.5 back. That's kind of been the same. Kinsey's now moved into the top 5 around Brown, and now Brown under pressure from Newbrow. That's basically about the only battle we got on the track team. Been watching it for a little while, and Brown just kind of slipping up just a little bit. Maybe you use his tires up trying to battle with Covington earlier.
Yeah, I think that battle hurt him, and I think Newbrow also got hurt in there. He's a pretty conservative driver usually, and I think maybe had to race how he didn't. But I like his line a lot better, the way he's coming off that corner lower and hotter even. So he's right up to Brown, ready to make a move here.
And he is all over the back of him. Like we said, that's our only real battle on the track right now. Brown slips up a little bit high. Newbrow a little bit lower, exiting the corner. He's going to get a good run down into turn 3, Brad. He's going to stick a nose. No, he's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing to try to work that battle. Newbrow right on the backside. Right now it's one of those situations where if you're not a whole lot faster, it might be better just kind of tucking it in the back. The question you got to start asking yourself is, pit strategy. 125 laps. We're at lap 54. Do you run it long and try to hope for a caution? Do you short pit? This is when those kind of questions have to really come into mind. Did you push too early as Newbrow goes to the bottom right now? It looks like he's going to pull even with Brown. Who's going to have the better exit speed? Newbrow going to try to slide up in front of him, try to do the crossover. Will be Brown. Newbrow going to have that position, but yeah, strategy you got to be thinking is key right now.
These guys doing everything they can, and Newbrow going to get underneath them, like you said there, and puts his sights on Kinsey, his teammate. So the top 6 drivers, Dean, are JD Motorsports here. No surprise.
No surprise. I mean, they're good. They've been dominating out here. Right now, though, it's the battle up front heating up. Sanchez all over them. They just went around the lap car, and these two battling. And Banks, no surprise, he's closing now.
Yeah, not a surprise at all. I mean, we've seen this how many times, Dean? Brandon Banks, kind of sits back and starts to get his car kind of, you know, warmed up, I guess you could say.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what's going on in there other than he really thinks out these races. He does not race the cars. He races the track and himself. And here goes Sanchez trying to do a power move on the high side. Not going to be able to make that work.
Yeah, no, it's just too late in the run. I mean, you can't expect the tires to really hook to be able to make that power run on the top side. But I'll tell you what, he is continuing to close it in the gap. He had that when the 9 of Brandon Dorsett was going by and getting lapped. He's really done everything he can. But, I wonder if he just got a little too aggressive there because it's only going to take a couple of moves to lose everything. But they're still coming up on more lap traffic here.
Yeah, and Banks dealing with one right now. That's going to cost him 2/10, at least a 1/10.5. So, but Banks is coming. There's no doubt about that at this point. But these guys, here come the leaders. They're going to have to deal with lap traffic right there. That's the 98 machine of Bobby Gibson. No problem for their leaders. But Schaefer opening up a gap. Banks, back to where he was. He's closing in on Sanchez, but Schaefer opened up the gap again.
Yeah, when Sanchez went by that lap traffic there, he wasn't able to open the wheel up, wasn't able to get full release all the way out to the wall where you saw Schaefer being able to do it, had to really cut it down. Lost about 2/10 there. Right now, Schaefer running kind of the better line on entry. Looks like he's kind of struggling a little bit of 3/4 of the corner out. But right now, it seems like Schaefer actually starting to gain a little bit more on Sanchez. As Sanchez lost 4/10 that lap, getting by the lap car.
Yeah, that killed him. That killed him right there a little bit. But like we said, I think there's still one more pit stop. So if he's going to stay that close, I think that this is still a good opportunity for him. Schaefer, he's got this thing. He wants this win because he's missed some races. He missed one race, and we got guys coming on pit road. Dean Bizzle and Covington, or no, apologies, that's a false positive there. But
no, I think you're right.
Oh yeah, they are leaving pit road. Yeah, so they are. Yep.
Yeah, they already pitted. So Bizzle and Covington here on lap 61 coming in. They're on a 2-stopper. And remember, they pitted on lap 24. Schaefer and these guys, now we're all getting close to 40 laps in. I mean, really, they can make it from here. So maybe this is just a short pit. I'm not sure for what Bizzle and Covington are doing, other than maybe they need tires, Jared.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's what kind of confused me. I thought maybe they just kind of went down low and got the readout there. But right now, I'm kind of watching these guys and see what their kind of lap times are going to be, because that's going to be the indication, like, who is going to flinch first in this lead group between Schaefer, Sanchez, and Banks to get down on pit road first.
Well, we look in on Sanchez to Banks. That's steadily coming down from 1.7 to 1.2 now. So Schaefer continues to, maintain his lead, but Sanchez falling a little bit, picked up a little tiny bit that lap. So he's starting to speed up again. These guys very evenly matched.
Yeah, I think the top three are definitely evenly matched. I don't see Schaefer really pulling away from Sanchez. In all reality, I see Banks of all three of them really making up the distance here. Jared kind of talked to me. We saw that little bit of a bobble, and that put Sanchez back about 4/10. And, if you're Banks and all of a sudden you make up 4/10 and that guy's a little bit closer, that carrot's right there. How much do you continue to push versus, just kind of doing your thing, as we're seeing that gap from Banks to Sanchez continue to fall?
Yeah, I think that, it's kind of, you're exactly right. I mean, I think you're kind of dangling the carrot out there and, see what you can do here, because now, I was looking at this too, Brad. I mean, Sanchez starting to reel Schaefer back in here.
And Banks, we're on board with him. I'm telling you, he's closing. And by the way, Troy Torgerson out there watching. Great race out of him last night as Schaefer disappears and comes back. But nice to see you out here, Troy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the biggest question is who's got the most to lose and who's got the most to gain, as Brandon Banks brings it down to under 2 seconds right now. The first time in many laps that he's been within 2 seconds here. So if you're somebody like Banks, you're sitting back at 1.9, do you do you pit early? I mean, I know what Dean's going to say, but I mean, do you pit early? Do you do the undercut and try to make it up?
Pit stops are happening, boys. Brown on pit road. Priest on pit road.
Yeah, here we go. This is going to tell everything. I love the call by Jesse Pries getting on pit road early, Dean. I think this is going to be huge for him.
And Brad, I didn't skirt your question. I'm just trying to force Jared to answer it because I don't know. This racetrack, there's so much unknown about it because you don't have the experience on it. I don't know what I'd do other than my standard answer that I wouldn't do whatever the leader's doing.
Well, we're at halfway right now. We just completed lap 67. We got multiple guys pitting. So if you're third place 2 seconds back, do you take that gamble?
That's a
I
good
think
question.
you got to gamble, and I think at a place like this, going long probably not going to benefit you. I don't know. Schaefer.
We're going to find out.
Our
Yep, we're
leader.
going to find out right now.
Yeah, he takes the short pit away from everybody, so you got to believe Schaefer believes the short pit's the way to go. It's too hard to pass, he thinks, and he might be right. But Banks and Sanchez stay out. This is going to be super interesting.
He's
And
forced
now
their
we're
hand.
now.
Yeah, he's forced their hand. I mean,
Yep.
if you're Sanchez, you're Banks, you can't stay out more than another lap, maybe 2 at most.
I
They're not gonna
disagree
be-
completely. If I'm out, and here comes Banks, he's sideways, trying to hook it in there. He does. A good entrance from Banks as he gets it on there. But I disagree, Brad. I don't like coming in 1 lap later or 2 laps. My hand isn't forced. I want to stay 5 more laps. 5 more laps. I want to have much better tires. Let's really see if tires will work or not. 1 lap, barely a difference. I've lost the track position already.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? 23, that's going to be Sanchez coming down this time by. So it's going to have to really be able to see how they all stack up on their exit. You know, all of them being very aggressive getting to pit road. But right there, last lap by Joe Sanchez at 31.50, we're going to have to see what exactly Banks was able to do on his last lap as well as Schaefer.
Kinsey, our new leader, Newbra in second. Right now, Sanchez just leaving, or he's just getting in his box. I don't know. Looked like he had some serious problem there, but I'm not sure. He was
didn't see
moving.
anything.
He was moving around just now when I looked in on him. I thought he should have been in a stall long ago. I could be wrong. He's down and away. Here he goes.
Yep,
We
Schaefer
look
just
into Schaefer. Schaefer's going to be way out in front by the time this shakes out. Banks right behind Schaefer, about the same distance, that 2 second gap that he was before.
And now we're going to see what Sanchez can do. Kinsey continues to stay out, though, Dean. I mean, and also Michael Newbra. So those guys have not pitted yet.
Yeah,
Well,
different is right there. Joe Sanchez in that 23 with Brandon Banks all over the back of him right now. But mind you, keep in mind, the 23 came in with about a second lead over Banks before that pit stop. So definitely Banks with that 1 lap earlier suited him a lot better. It's going to be interesting to see at the end of this run what exactly it means.
Yeah, super interesting. And the big for Joe Sanchez was he was able to get in front of Banks and kind of cut him off there and hold him behind him because he doesn't want to have to try and pass him and burn up his stuff and all that. So Sanchez has done what he needs to do. I think he's in great shape here. 2.2 behind. He's got, I think, 2 lap fresher tires. This could be big. Schaefer could be in trouble, but he does have the lead, so we'll see.
Now we're going to find out what these guys can do. You know, Sanchez, 2.5 seconds, Dean. That's the gap right now. And we got about 54 to go here. So that's plenty of time to get back to him. He does have a little bit fresher tires, but not by a lot. Now he's going to have to moderate, you know, driving fast, trying to catch back up and saving his stuff.
You know, Jared, I was using my Canadian math earlier, so I was off. So you look in on their pit laps, sorry, right here at about 69, 67. They pitted on lap 24. That's only 40 some odd laps. Are they? And we got over 50 to go. Can they make it If they can't, why did they wait so long? Again, Jared, we talk about it all the time. These guys sometimes do 2 stops, but they never break them up even. They're always late on the first one.
Yeah, Dean, I think that's a good observation because I didn't actually notice that. I thought that they had gone. I thought we'd pit on 15, but you're right, 25. So yeah, that's 40. You know, a little over 45, about 45 laps, right? So they're gonna have to come back down pit road again unless somebody out here is gonna save that much time.
Well, again, I asked the question then. Brad, I'll put it to you. Why? Why? If you're going to do 2 stops and it's, say, for math's sake, it's 99 laps, why don't you pit on lap 33 and lap 66? Why do you pit on lap 44, and, or whatever? What is the thinking behind that?
Well, the other thing I think is, remember the first time they came down pit road was because of a caution. I mean, if you're going to give me a free pit stop, I'm going to go ahead and take it. They probably went down pit road this time as soon as they got into their opening as far as the pit window. So I got to think here with the 1.3 mile track that they're going to be able to make that 60 laps, 66 laps, even with only 70% of fuel.
But why breaking it up? Jared, I'm going to pose it to you because I'm not satisfied with Brad's answer.
Because that's what they do to win.
No, like, I mean, they're going 42 on one end and 55 on the other. Or what they're really doing is 42, say 25 and 25. It's, why not go, 31, 31, 31?
I think it's what Schaefer forced the hand, truthfully. I think that's really what it comes down to.
By staying out. I mean, they could have come in earlier. Jared, your thoughts on this?
I love the battle between you guys right now. That's not
There is no battle. I win.
I just don't. I think that we've seen so many times, right, Dean? We've covered these races a lot where we don't really see guys go out there and make those kind of double stop pit stops, cut it up evenly like you're talking about. So I contend that these guys are going to make it to the end, but I wonder if there are some guys that are going to fall short.
Have you been wrong before?
Absolutely not. Never in my life. I was never wrong.
So I will put one more flame on the fire, if you will. And the reason why I think that this is the way it is, they're all on the same team. So I think there's a common strategy between them. If somebody was on a different team, I think if like Sanchez was on a different team, he would be so trying to do something completely different. At this particular junction, we're late in the season. You guys talked about it. Sanchez, first race out. It's either win or like just not affect the championship points at this point in time. And I think it's more of a team strategy. And it's not a bad one. I mean, let's face it. Who's the top 3? Who's the top 4 right now?
That's a great point. I mean, teammates talking about it and all that, they don't have a whole lot to worry about with the guys behind them, so they can pit whenever the heck they want. Maybe they're worried. The other thing that I think of is when guys are super concerned about a caution. They don't want to pit early and get caught by that caution. I personally don't let that dictate my strategies, but it will burn you on occasion. Right now, looking in on the race, Joe Sanchez has cut this gap down to 1.3 seconds. Jared, are these 2-lap fresher tires going to maintain this gain over time, or will they completely level out?
I think this he's going to get back to where he was. I think he's going to get within a half a second, and then that little part there, unless he gets some help from lap traffic or something like that, which there is going to be some lap traffic these guys are going to have to contend with. A bunch of cars lined up 5th through 9th. They're just now coming on the front straightaway. So I think that it's going to get down to that. I wonder if he's going to have anything left to make the move.
Well, if they get a pit, I mean, back to the pit thing. I mean, they're going to pit on lap 100 basically, or they're going like really short and then really long. I just don't think that's the case. I think we're looking at another pit stop here. So if that's
he
the
just
case,
wants these guys to pit right now. Like, go on pit road right now.
I don't know what I want right now. I'm trying not to be too upset, but I've seen this so many times. And I just wonder why not even one guy. Brad brought up the best point yet, and that's that their teammates. That makes total sense to me, and I can live with that one. But when there are other guys involved, I'm just thinking, like, don't be dictated by the leader. Do your
Yep.
own race, right?
I think they're going long, and I think Schaefer is really managing his equipment because he knows he's going to have another 20 laps. Where Sanchez, he's going for it. He's got nothing to lose. It's not like he's in a points battle. But to your point, if I was that driver doing an alternative schedule or sequence, if you will, it would be the 23 because I have nothing to lose. I mean, I have only everything to gain.
Exactly. And that's where I think it frees him right up, right? He's got to be at least if he wasn't thinking that way then, maybe he thinks that way now. You can short pit, you can long, and he blinks out. Sanchez is gone. He has dropped.
Oh boy, and
Well,
he's
there
gone
you
for
go.
a while here.
Yeah, he's gone.
Wow,
not
last
good.
week Eric Schaefer dropping from near the front. This week Sanchez on his debut, and he was closing, folks. He had it down to 1-3. Then he had it down to 1-1. He was maybe under a second by the time he blinked out. He was coming. Now it's all about Banks. Banks picks up the spot, moves into second place, and he sets his sights on Schaefer, now 2.8 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and now if that was the strategy, Schaefer, he's got all the time in the world. He can back it down even more. He can make sure he conserves his tires. He's got 3 seconds before Banks even gets to him. So even if that was happening with the 23 of Sanchez, it falls right into the lap of Schaefer here. And if it doesn't pit early, you got nothing to lose.
It does fall into the lap of Schaefer, but what about Banks, Jared? Our points leader. How do you catch a guy that's always in the top 3?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be difficult. I mean, Banks is obviously a very, very good driver. I mean, there's no doubt about it, obviously, right? We've covered him so much. But my goodness, Schaefer's a top-notch driver as well. And Banks is, I think there's just too much space he's given up. He's now starting to lose a little bit of time. So I don't know how you do it, but I think if there is a pit stop, you've got to come on pit road before Schaefer, and you've got to make Schaefer pass you on track.
Super interesting. Lap 88 of 125. Eric Schaefer, your race leader in the 01 machine, coming up on lap traffic. That's Brian Bizzle. He's going to work underneath him and continue to lead this race. Banks still 2.8 seconds behind. I mean, really no difference in lap times between Banks and Schaefer at this point. Pit stops may be coming, maybe not. I believe they are. Jared says no. I'm not sure what Brad thinks. And Bizzle's on the wall.
I think caution now.
Oh, that's a caution. That could be there it is.
Hey,
and the strategy's gone now.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to pit again.
I'm right again. They're pitting. Bizzle, wow, a hard lick into the wall. Let's get a look in on what happened to Brian Bizzle.
That sucks for everybody there. But now it changes everything.
Oh, and you see just that same as really what we've seen from Holland. Kind of that push loose thing, Jared, just push up to the wall, car kicks down. Fortunately, nobody underneath him, and gets caught up in that.
And now they're all coming down pit road, Brad. The teammates leading it down.
Yeah, absolutely. They got biggest thing here is hit your marks. I mean, I think even if Banks comes out in second, which even if they stay course right where they are, I don't think they have to worry about Pries. Pries is too far back. He's not going to make up enough time. These guys, all they got to do is hit their marks. They're going to come out 1-2. The question is, who comes out 1, who comes out 2?
On Banks, just on the edge of that pit stall. That was a heartbeat from going through the stall.
Yeah, that's where you kind of are like, oh boy, what's going on here? But he's going to get off pit road very quickly here.
Yeah, so status quo, but look at all the guys who stayed out. Now, I don't know, are these wave rounds?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, some of these guys are wave rounds. Some of these guys, though, Kinsey and Newbra are not wave rounds. Neither is Covington, so I don't know I don't know why they're staying out. That's
This is
interesting.
very interesting stuff here, Jared. And, us up in the booth often speculate, as we were talking about last week. We like to speculate. We're not always right. Don't take what we say to heart by any means. But some of these guys coming down now, Bizzle's in, Kinsey's in, Newbraw, Covington, Kudstrica, all on pit road.
And that could have been just a bonus point play by those guys, Kinsey and those guys. But that's the only thing I could think of.
I wasn't here last week. Take it to the bank. What I say, it's gonna happen. All right, just saying.
You're not speculating at all.
No, it's. I said, look at this wreck, and then they wrecked. It's happening.
You did have a crystal ball. This seems to be a common thread with you.
Yeah,
There
I'm
was
not.
one the other week as well that was
Yep.
mind-blowingly crystal ballish.
I'm not picking a winner though. No, that's too much. That's too much right there.
You don't want to pick a winner? You
No,
sure?
I'm a win.
He doesn't pick lottery tickets either.
Oh man, I wouldn't even be here. I'd be a millionaire.
It's a strange gift you have, Brad, picking wrecks. But,
even when I'm in them, I'll tell you what. So this is going to be interesting though, because this will be the first time that Banks has been so close to the front. I'm going to assume that Schaefer's going to take the bottom because he's done it the last 2 times, and that does open up a little bit for Banks. Provided that he's willing to kind of put it in there on the top side. And really, the one I think that's going to open it up for is going to be that zero in that TikTok machine, because he's going to be able to just kind of sit back at Pries and kind of pick and choose his spot.
yeah, Priest is in there, and he's in a good spot in 3rd place. We'll see what he can do. David E. Brown, so kind of a shootout scenario here. We're going to have, about 30 laps when we go green here. So not quite a shootout, but some of these guys, kind of going to have a new lease on life, and maybe come up here and cause some damage.
I want some non-teammates up front. That's what I want. I want to see it.
I tell you, JD Motorsports, me and Jared talk about it all year. These guys, so good. They dominate these races, and they dominate the points. We had Cronover come up there, and he's got a couple of wins on the season. He breaks it up, but not here tonight. So these guys, David E. Brown does a nice job. He's back in 4th right now. Jared, you dare to predict a winner here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Eric Schaefer.
All right, straight to the point. I love it. I'll take Banks.
I'm going to go with the pace car.
No, I'm not. Don't pick the pace car.
Can't lose. He'll get there first.
Pace car pulls off. It's Schaefer and Banks, Brown and Priest. Here we go. 32 laps left.
Green, green, green.
Great start by the 01 Eric Schaefer. Did exactly what he needed to do. Get a little bit of distance. Looks like Brandon Banks is going to fall in line right behind him.
Little bit of battling. Kinsey and Brown almost touching back there. Kinsey coming underneath Priest here. Big run. Newbraw pulling on through as well.
And these guys getting a big run here. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh, I was just saying, Schaefer got a huge lead down the backstretch. Great run. Everything you needed to do. Banks, if he gets in any type of problem right there for Jesse Pries, it's going to be over. Schaefer's going to be able to drive away.
Banks just doesn't push that car early, no matter what. And this, I call it a shootout, but we're talking over 30 laps. He's thinking about this whole run, and he's not going to push that car. So we'll see what he can do a little later. But Schaefer, I've raced Schaefer. Schaefer's fast early, Schaefer's fast middle, and Schaefer's fast in the long. So he's a tough one to run down.
Yeah, he is, Dean. I've raced with him as well, and he can, especially these concrete type tracks where you have to kind of save your stuff. This is where he kind of comes to life, and it's going to be difficult. I mean, he's already got a 2nd lead over Banks, and everybody kind of on the back bumper of Banks right now.
Yeah, Banks, I dare to say, holding him up a little bit, but that's what he does. He drives conservative. We all know that, you drive conservative for 3 to 5 to even 10 laps. It's going to really help your tire wear on the long run. but it's hard to do out here with guys pressuring you. We look a little further back, it's Bizzle, Covington, and Kostritza, and these guys are swinging again. Seems like Kostritza has been in the middle of all these little battles.
Yeah, this has been a crazy night, and he has got everybody right there. That's Covington on the outside of him as he looks down into turn 3. Bizzle just getting around him. And Kostritza down low, and you got to be careful there, Dean. We didn't talk about it a lot, but there's a pretty rough transition between the banking and the flat there. And if you hit that thing wrong, it can really cause some issues. But right now, I'm just impressed by everybody trying to get up to Schaefer, and Schaefer just continuing to walk away as these JD Motorsports cars are 1st through 5th right now, Dean.
Wow. Just wow. I mean, 1 through 5, these guys putting on a show. Can anybody run down Schaefer? Currently a 1.3 lead over Banks. Kind of almost back to where it was. So Banks got to start sooner than later here. We're coming up on 25 to go.
All right, so just to be clear, I'm ready for my prediction. My prediction is somebody from JD Motorsports is going to take this one.
There you go.
Wow.
Going out on a wild limb once again.
Wild limb, like
That's a good limb, bud.
I'm confident.
Let's talk about our movers of the race here. Of course, Jesse Pries here in the 0, the TikTok machine, last week's winner, up 5 spots on the evening. Michael Newbraw in the 6, up 6 spots, having himself a really nice run here this evening. He got Kostritza battling hard, up 3 spots. And Dorsett, we don't talk too much about him tonight. Brandon Dorsett, a little bit of damage on the back end, but still up 5 spots on the evening. And Bobby Gibson, Bobby, he's just out here, logging laps, trying to keep her clean out here. He's picked up 6 spots, and he's in 11th.
Yeah, doing a good job there. Logging laps, getting better and better every week as he continues to, start to understand these cars a little bit more. And but right now, Dean, this battle for 3rd place, though, is heating up between these two teammates, Pries and Kinsey, battling for that last spot on the podium. I kind of want Pries to get on the podium so we can ask him to do a TikTok dance or whatever the hell that is.
Exactly. Us old boys in the booth, whatever the hell you kids are doing on that TikTok dare thing.
What's a TikTok?
Is that a clock?
I think it's a clock. Yep, you're exact. That's what it is. So it must be a clock company. We figured it out, guys. We have solved the TikTok crisis.
I'll tell you what, looking up front there, Eric Schaefer continuing to lead, but Brandon Banks kind of stabilized that lead. No longer is it a situation where Eric Schaefer's starting to pull away. Banks is starting to not necessarily eat into it, but he's looking a lot better on the exit of these corners where it looks like, Schaefer might be getting to that situation where he's starting to really push it. And that time, call it a breath, but Banks just a little bit quicker.
You cannot sleep on the 4. He shows it week in and week out. It's usually we don't start even talking to him about this point, and he's one of those, where did he come from, guys? Coming from 6th or 5th, and all of a sudden he's in 2nd looking to win a race, and he's doing it here again tonight, starting on the pole, though, so a little different situation, but he is hanging with Schaefer. Schaefer a little bit better that lap, so these guys swapping laps right now. We're on 22 to go.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't think he has enough speed to make up the time that he's down. As Dorsett heading down pit road, Dean.
Wow, Dorsett pulls it off. That is poor time for a pit stop, but not a whole lot to lose out here. Bizzle's going to get by him perhaps, but other guys having some problems and off the track. Of course, we can't forget Joe Sanchez and his debut race tonight. Sanchez, what a run he was having. Had a good shot at coming up here and getting, maybe beating Schaefer, but internet connections took him out of this one.
Yeah, I think Dorsett came down because I think he took the wave by last time. Little gamble, if you will, trying to catch a caution at the right time and get yourself back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, didn't happen.
Man, these guys seemingly better out of 3 and 4, and Schaefer's pretty good through 1 and 2 right now.
I'll tell you what, Schaefer right there, that time, he is having a little bit of internet connection. Could we have one of our top runners with, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to say it.
Don't even say it there, Crystal Ball, man.
I'll tell you what, though, Banks is closing in. He's got it down to 1.1.
Yeah, he's starting to make a move here. I mean, 20 to go. I still don't think he's going to have enough time to chase down Schaefer, but we'll see.
They're swapping corners. I mean, you pick up a 10th in one corner and lose it in the other, and it's a different corner every time. So I was wrong about which corner they're good in. They're both just really good, but they're not being perfectly consistent. So that there is room here for one of these guys to, either make a mistake or another one to catch them. But we're on 19 to go, and I think you're starting to look more and more right here. I don't know if you're going to run down Schaefer in this little amount of laps, and even if you do, how are you going to get by him?
You're talking about me, right? With the JD Motorsports car winning? Because I claimed that one, just for the record.
You can cash that ticket right now.
Now, what is interesting, and Jared kind of talked me through it. I mean, look at the different line that these guys are running, especially here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, you look at Banks. I mean, he's running, kind of high and then entering, kind of arcing it in. And then you look at Schaefer up there entering low and then just kind of riding the bottom. And really, you look at it, we'll get a good look through the next turn here. I mean, he kind of does it in 1 and 2, but they both very similar through 1 and 2, that's kind of the line because the way that banking is down there. But you look through turn 3 and 4 right now, and let me get a better view of this, and you'll see right now. So Banks entering really high. He's up in the second groove, and then he brings it all the way down, and now he comes back out. And Dean, I would say that he's probably just a little bit tight, and that'll help him get through that corner a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely trying to get a better arc out of there, and it might be a tight condition he's fighting. I mean, he was quicker through that corner and picked up some time, and, well, of course, lost it in the next corner. But these guys, interesting battle. 1.17 is the lead right now for Schaefer over Banks, and he just jumped up another 10th through that corner. So the timing continuing to switch up corner to corner, and time is winding down.
Yeah, absolutely. Time's starting to wander down a little bit. Because it looks like the 4 of Brandon Banks in that scuttle tight car, a little tight in 3 and 4.
There you go.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's fine. But you enter high, bring it down low, and you can kind of run that high side and kind of get that turn off the corner. But a little bit better than if you're trying to run a traditional line. Because if you run a traditional line like Schaefer's doing, if you're tight, you're going to wash out to that wall, and you're just going to have that push, snap loose. And you don't want that. And so I think Banks is doing what he can, but I just don't think he's got enough speed in 1 and 2. He's just getting killed in 1 and 2 right now, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, he is. We kind of went back. We're looking at now as David E. Brown and Kustritsa here. As Kustritsa has asserted himself in another battle. I might have to name him Mr. Excitement here. Sean Kustritsa takes a look underneath, a weird angle, gets on the apron a little bit, still might get him off the corner here.
You saw that car unload right now going down the straightaway, though. Neck and neck, it looks like Kustritsa are going to pull ahead just a little bit. Is he going to be able to have that very shallow entry? Yeah. Looks like the 3 of Brown backed out a little bit early trying to do the crossover. They're just not going to be able to make it work. Having to fall in line behind him.
Good run for Kustritsa, Dean. I mean, he is not on the verge, but I mean, if something happens to one of these guys in the top 5, he could get his first top 5 of the year. So Kustritsa doing a great job in the 31 tonight.
Yeah, he is. And Brown's also doing a nice job. I think Brown kind of just didn't want to fight him there. You're a little bit quicker. You go ahead. We'll see if something happens a little later on. Back up front, Schaefer now 1.5 seconds ahead as he goes by Bobby Gibson. Gibson, I think, blinked out there a little bit too. Don't forget about Jesse Pries. He's still hanging in there, and I'm telling you, he's matching lap times with Banks. He might even be closing on Banks a little bit.
Yeah, actually, Pries is starting to wrap him down. I was looking at the time delta, Dean, and it does look like it is going down slightly. I just don't think it's going down enough. The gap under right at 1 second, a little less than 1 second right now.
Yeah, he's closing. So the 0, last week's winner, the TikTok man, the clock owner, is coming up and chasing down Banks. So interesting. And Gibson.
Caution.
Gibson all over the place.
This changes everything.
I don't know what happened to Gibson, but we'll get a quick look in on it here if we can. I don't think there's nothing really showing for us.
Well, he's coming off pit road, Dean, and I think when he came off pit road, he got up in the grass and got loose, came out on the track.
Yeah, well, we'll take a look and see if this will catch it for us. Give you a little fast forward action here as he comes off a pit road.
Yeah, it's pretty far up after that.
He's on the track. Everything seems fine. Down through the corner. All is well. And we're on the verge of giving up on this. We'll stay with him for one more corner.
Yeah, it's quite a bit up there. I mean, it's a couple laps after he pitted, Dean. It's kind of hard to specify where it is, but basically just got loose going into turn one, it looked like.
We'll have to get back to live action as our leaders head down pit road. It's Schaefer and Banks trying to get up there close to him this time, see if he can do something on pit road here.
And one thing that was very important there is Banks closed right up on the back of Schaefer, but one thing that Kinsley did not do, he did not close up on the back of Banks. He was right there with him, but because Banks went a little bit wider to fake that he was going to come, did not come in.
So I found the accident. Jesse Pries gets in the back of the 98, Dean. So Jesse Pries with some right front damage on that zero machine.
Oh, that's unfortunate there, Jesse Pries. And he was doing so well. Covington!
88!
Covington coming off pit road. Did he beat Schaefer off? He did. It looks like a two-tire stop for Covington. Wow. And they battled. Schaefer spinning them, and that might have cost him there. This is huge because not only does it put Covington out front, who's very good short run. I don't know if two tires is going to work for him, but now Banks will be on the inside behind the leader. Schaefer is going to be stuck in my most hated position, second, where you can't see and you get a bad start. Wow, things are shaking up here.
This is crazy now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Covington goes into turn one and just doesn't have the grip, he's going to pull up right in front of our second place person, especially if he gets a good launch. So, yeah, totally changed the whole complexion of the restart here.
I love the call by Covington. Love that call. What do you got to lose? I mean, you go for it, man. Like, you're going to finish 7th as it was, or 8th. Go for it. Go out there and see what happens here.
Absolutely.
Do we take our predictions back? I'm not taking mine back.
No, I'm not taking mine back.
I'm not taking back.
You still got the pace car.
That's right. I win. Pace car wins. Absolutely. I do. I agree. I love the call, though. I really do.
For me, I mean, I got Banks, and I love where he's sitting third. If he's going to get Schaefer, this is his best chance. I mean, he could get underneath him here. We're going to see. It's all on what Covington can do here or can't do. You know, he gets down in that corner. He could push up. He could get loose. I don't know. I don't know if he knows how these two tires are going to react. Do any of us know? Jared, do you know?
Yeah, I think the two tires, I mean, honestly, at this track, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, and we don't know. It looks like he took right side. So, I think that if that is the case, I mean, that car is going to, I think he's going to have a good opportunity to be able to hold these guys off, but it's going to be hard. He's going to have to drive hard.
I mean, he was so good early in the race, but it only lasted 3 laps. So we're on 7 to go. Be around 5 to 6 to go when we start. I mean, but regardless of whether he can hang on or not, I think it'll be a net gain for him. And I think also he's going to wreak some havoc up here on what other Schaefer or Banks are going to be able to do. And now you got to start thinking about a guy like Cody Kinsey. What can he do in a short shootout situation?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Dean. I think if this goes more than 3 laps without a caution, he's kind of a sitting duck. If he's able to luck himself into something where, a couple quick laps and a caution because of the aggressive driving or a situation where you're a little bit slower out in front of the field, he's got a shot. But I think if this goes green to the end, I'm not 100% confident in this. I still love the move, though.
We're about to find out what's going to happen here, Brad.
My goodness, these things always shaking up late. We thought it was just going to be an easy drive for Schaefer. Now he's in second place on the outside lane. He's got to get a good restart. That's all he's thinking. Both of these guys testing their brakes. Covington looking racy. Pace car pulls off. It's Covington inside. Schaefer on the high side. Banks third. Kinsey on the outside. And wow, what a start from Covington. Banks couldn't get there. Kinsey to the outside. Banks does get there now, I think. I'm not sure. No.
Now, oh boy, and Covington did not close down that bottom line, and Schaefer's looking now off of turn 2, side by side behind him. Schaefer's going to have the inside line. Covington's going to have to make something happen into 3. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
No, I don't think he can hold him off with 2. He's trying all he can. Schaefer on the low side, driving on by. Here comes Kinsey on Banks. Now, what I thought was a good thing for Banks is a bad thing, as he's got to work around Covington. I don't know. It looks more and more like Schaefer showing his might. Going to go out here and take it once again. Here's Banks coming underneath Covington.
Yeah, Covington kind of sitting there. He's doing a great job, though. I mean, he is letting that car roll here. Oh, a little bit, almost contact. Had to get out of it. That's going to cost him some time. But he's trying to break up this JD Motorsports conglomerate up here at the front.
He's trying, but we're 3 laps in, and that car fading now with those 2 tires. Newbra goes by barely. Slide job. There goes David E. Brown looking for room. Covington looking 3 wide.
Oh, 3 wide. 3
Whoa,
wide.
that
Oh,
was
my
dangerous.
goodness.
And
Wow.
the only one looking back is Schaefer with a huge grin on his face, seeing all this happen behind him. As he's been able to set sail and really pull out a little bit. You know, he's continuing to hit his marks. And I think right now it's just a matter of him. You know, he puts in 2 good laps, hits his mark. I think this is his race to win. You know, whether or not we get 2 extra laps before we see any other flag other than the white, we'll be up to see.
Big win for Cody Kinsey. Back here, it's Priest battling. Guess who? Kostritza. He's battling everybody tonight. Newbra looking underneath Covington.
Oh, my gosh.
He gets a little loose, almost contact. We're on 2 to go. Final lap, actually. Schaefer takes the white flag. We stay back here with this battle. Schaefer well out in front of Banks. Priest dropping. Kostritza looking for the spot, but I got to go up to our leader, Eric Schaefer. What a night for the 01 machine. Coming through 3 and 4 in this Nashville 150. Eric Schaefer going to grab another win here tonight. A great job by him. Banks holds off Kinsey for second. Kinsey's in third. Oh, and a big battle at the line. Newbra, Covington, and Priest.
Yeah,
Newbra got him.
Bizzle came off of 4, lost the back end of that machine, put it through the grass as well.
And he is well into the grass in 9th. Dorsett going to come home in 10th. Well, Schaefer won the shootout. He deserved it. He earned it. What a night for the 01 machine.
Yeah, I knew it all along. I got him from the get-go. Called it.
You can't change your pick now. You said the pace car.
What team? What team?
You did say that. I called him on the nose. Eric Schaefer, what a win for him.
You guys, front runners. I mean, I did pick Banks, so much different.
But how are you going to go against flex glue? I mean, that car was glued to the track. I mean, all night long.
Yeah, I don't even think that's legal. Schaefer burning them down in the flex glue machine. I love this burnout. Trying to set her straight down the track. Great burnout by the 01. What a race. Right now, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk to Schaefer, Banks, and Kinsey. to Nashville, where JD Motorsports is smoking up the joint, burning these suckers down until they pop. These guys really enjoying this one, Jared, and rightfully so. Dominant team.
Yeah, I mean, swept the top 5. Probably would have had the top 6. Unfortunately, Sanchez internet disconnection there at the end. But what a season these guys have had, and what a race for them, Brad.
I knew it all along. I picked them from the get go. I mean, is anybody really surprised? I mean, they did though. They had a fantastic night. They really had the right strategy. Came in with strong cars, qualified well, and really just ran a good race.
It really did. It was excellent. Let's take a quick look in on the championship standings here. See if anything updated here. Actually, I don't believe it did, so we'll just leave that for the next time here. But it's basically status quo. Banks still your leader. Schaefer will do well, and Kinsey and all of them. But let's get right into things right now with, I think, Brad, you're down there with Mr. Kinsey.
Absolutely. I'm down here with the number 15. That's going to be Cody Kinsey. Cody, man, started in on 4th tonight, came home 3rd. I mean, kind of an up and down night, kind of quiet for you. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you got it done. I mean, just kind of talk us through how your night went.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think I burned him up there the first 2 runs. Setup was good. I just had trouble center off.
Yeah, kind of talk us through, because we're trying to figure out the strategy that you guys were going as far as your pit stops go. I mean, was it a situation where, you decided to go one long and then one a little bit shorter? How exactly did that factor into your night?
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, I was just trying to stretch it out as long as I could, and then that late caution come out and do things to the wind, but we got her done.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you guys have been dominating this, the JD Motorsports and whatnot. I mean, kind of really talk us through, how much importance it is to be a part of this team, and just the success that you guys continue to have just working together.
Oh yeah, man, this team is good. We're on here every day, practicing, painting, whatever. We're on iRacing.
And that's excellent. I mean, and it really shows every single time you guys show up tonight. Um, I'm going to just kind of turn it over to you, let you thank anybody you need to thank, and congratulations on a 3rd place finish tonight.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Drinker Bros, Paul's Setup Shop. That's about it.
All right, Cody. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. Right now, though, I believe we got Jared standing by with our 2nd place finisher.
Yeah, I'm down here, Dean, with our Brad. Sorry, with our runner-up here tonight, Mr. Brandon Banks here. Brandon, congratulations on your run-up finish tonight.
I appreciate it.
So let's talk about your race. I mean, you kind of were 2nd, 3rd most of the night. I mean, you led you almost led some laps there at the beginning, but your teammates, Sanchez and Schaefer, they looked like they had something, but then you started to reel Schaefer in at the end. Did you have something for him?
I'm not sure for Schaefer. Maybe Joe, but I really wish it would have played out there, because I think that was about the only chance I had of catching either one of them. To be honest with you, they were really good on the short run, and after about 25 laps, my car would kind of come in a little bit, and I'd actually be able to reel them back in just a little bit. But all in all, pretty good day, especially JD Motorsports had a good finish there. I hate that for Jesse and Joe for blanking out like that. That was kind of unfortunate for Joe. I'd like to see how that race would have finished with him, but all in all, pretty good day.
Well, let's talk about, before that caution came out, Brandon. I mean, you were talking, we had the pit stop around lap 70-ish. Could you guys make it to the end on fuel?
No, I don't think so. I think we could go maybe around 45, give or take. So we would have had to probably short pit there at the end anyway. So yeah, I was kind of, that would probably have been my only other way, is maybe to try to short pit Schaefer and try to get in a little bit earlier. But I really don't think anybody had much for Schaefer. I think he was saving a little bit there in reserve. Saw me kind of catch him the first run. I think he kind of saw that, and he started saving a little more at the beginning, and he was tough. He had a good set.
Well, we've seen you all season long, Brandon, be there at the end, and it's been crucial to your championship battle here. I mean, you still finished second place, didn't lose a whole lot of ground to Schaefer, who is in second in points. What is this team? You're on a roll. I mean, you guys have been doing great. A lot of chemistry out there at JD Motorsports.
So we've been racing together for over a year and a half now, all together, and it's a good team, good group of guys. Like I said, we go out and practice every day, and we're on here every day, just cutting up with each other and just having a good time. So this is a real fun league. We get in here and just kind of have a good time, and we seem to do pretty well in here. So so we'll take it.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Brandon. Looking ahead to the schedule, Road America coming up next. How are we feeling about the journey out to Wisconsin?
That's one of them road courses. I will be middle of the pack there probably. I'll probably be giving up some points. So I think the biggest thing there is just staying on the track. I think we could pull out at least maybe a top 10, top 8 maybe if I could stay on the track. We got a couple of good guys in here that can road course race pretty decent. So and I'm not one of them. So we'll go out there and put a lot of practice in, and then see if I can at least keep it on the track. And I think as long as we do that, we should have a pretty good day.
Well, Brandon, what a race again for you tonight. I want to turn the mic over to you, let you have the last word on your race.
I appreciate my teammates there, JD Motorsports, Eric, Cody, Newbrow, Jesse, great guys. Said appreciate Paul for putting in a good setup this week for us. He does a great job with our setups, and thanks to you guys for putting on this broadcast. Appreciate everything you do.
All right, Dean, that was our runner-up and point leader, Brandon Banks.
All right, I'm down here in victory lane once again in CO1. Eric Schaefer. Congratulations, Eric.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Oh, man, heck of a race tonight, man. You got out there. You started in second place tonight. Covington gets out of the gate, kind of pulls away a little bit. I mean, very momentarily. Did it concern you, right? Like, I mean, the first 2 laps look like, wow, he's a threat here tonight.
No, I know Covington's normally fast, man, but typically he runs his stuff real quick, or runs it off real quick, and just ends up burning his right rear off and everything else. And I was able to just watch him get real loose a few times on within 2 laps. To watch him get real loose, and I'm like, all right, now it's time to go. So I went around him, man, and once I did that, I just started setting the pace and told Brandon to follow me through and just set the pace for the whole rest of the race.
So speaking of the rest of the race, you're out there, you're controlling this thing. Banks hanging there though. He's right in this thing. And of course, we had the newcomer out here tonight. I'm trying to Sanchez. Sanchez was great. He was a real threat here tonight, but internet connection got him. Now these guys rolling up behind you. Let's talk about Sanchez first. What do you feel about his threat to your win here tonight?
Oh, Joe is actually on our Drinking Bros team in our other league, so I know how good he is and how aggressive he is. But I uh I knew what he was gonna do, and I just knew as long as I with this setup that Paul hooked us up with, I just knew as long as I could sit out in front of him long enough, the longer I ran, the better it got, more stable wise and more snug off the corner. So yeah, just I knew he was going to come, man. But the longer I stayed out front, the better it was getting. So I I wouldn't say I sounded a little cocky, but it was like I knew he was going to catch me, but I knew he wasn't going to get around me.
Oh, that's interesting because we kind of noticed that. Like, I mean, you were good early during a run. You're good early. The middle, yeah, still good, of course, but maybe guys were pulling on you like middle late, and then but late you seem to get it all back again. And that kind of what you were feeling out of the car?
Yeah, the it was like 10 laps before the pit stop, man. I was able to pick up 2 to 3 tenths a lap than what I was running, and it was like I guess because of the fuel started burning off a little further and everything else, and it just that shade that came on there in the middle of the race really helped out a lot. It dropped the track temp about 4 degrees, and it really helped out a lot right there. But it just this setup, man, these setups that we run that I get from RKM, they're long run setups. They're not short run stuff, so they're made for long races.
Oh, that's good stuff, and you're doing really well in it, man. One last thing there, the end of the race, we get a caution. You got to be thinking, Lord, no, not now. Not only that, Covington beats you off pit road, almost surprises you. You get a little wiggle trying to battle him off of pit road, but he gets you on a two-tire stop. Maybe not so concerned about him with those two tires, but were you concerned about starting on that outside and maybe someone else from the inside being able to get a run on you?
Yeah, my biggest concern there was him actually on two tires because I know two tires here in the official races a while back was not the way to go. It was real loose on the inside. So my biggest fear was getting a good restart and starting next to him and just going down into one and him taking me out. But I was fortunate enough that I got a pretty slow restart compared to him, and I was able to tuck in line because Brandon didn't get a good restart either. I just tucked in line and got up, saw an opportunity, got up underneath him, and just drove him down into three and didn't break. Uh, Hard enough so he could get behind me. I just kept him up on the high side and I just walked right by him.
Yeah, it was well played, well deserved. You ran a great race. You won, the shootout at the end as well. It was a great victory here tonight. Congratulations winning this Nashville 150, Eric. And now's the time to thank anybody you want to thank, brother.
Yeah, huge shout out to Marshall and all the guys for running the league and everything. And, definitely a huge shout out to you guys who broadcast on Wind Tunnel TV, man. I enjoy watching the broadcast the next day and stuff like that. And shout out to the JD Motorsports guys and all the Drinking Bros guys and Paul for the setups and RKM setup shop. And yeah, it's just this has been a fun league this year, man. I know that our car count isn't showing as much as it should, but it's been a fun league. To find one of the hardest cars to drive on here as a open setup league, yeah, it's really fun, man. I'm having a ball.
Well, that's probably one of the most important things, Jared. Talking about having fun. What more can you ask from this, man? These guys are having a blast out here, and it's showing on the track.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Eric, clearly a talented driver and winning races. And, Dina, it doesn't matter. If you're winning races, you're having a good time. You're very rarely in a bad mood winning races.
Very rarely. I mean, they're winning. Their team's all up there in the top five all the time, and it's just a blast for these guys. But he talked a little bit about the league in general. The car count hasn't been a huge concern here because there's a lot of good talent towards the top, especially when Holland had a rough night tonight. Sanchez dropped out. You had Kronover wasn't here, so it gets even more competitive and. Of course, we cover all that action every Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Make sure you come out and watch it. That's the Kickin Assphalt series. But tonight from Nashville, that's going to wrap it up. I'm Dean Doucette with Jared Carr and Mr. Brad Patterson. We'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel.